still using super basic phrases that you learn in a phrase book, but you want to sound more like a local. If you are sick of using the same old tired phrases when you are trying to practice your Portuguese conversation skills, then this video is going to give you an upgrade. A boring old bom dia is only going to get you so far, so in today's video I am giving you better, more interesting, more natural alternatives to some basic phrases that you are using every day in Portuguese. If we haven't met yet, my name is Liz and I help people who are relocating or retiring to Portugal to build their confidence and conversation skills in Portuguese. I have tons of free resources linked in the description, so if you need some help with your pronunciation or you want to take my free lesson for beginners, head there for all the juicy info, including how to apply to be part of my full beginners program. So let's dive into these phrases, starting by upgrading our hello. So as always, the things that I'm going to teach you are pretty informal. They're not supposed to be used in particularly formal context. It really is about having a chit chat with a friend in the street and feeling more natural while doing it. So the first one we can replace is Olá, como estás? The really simple way of saying hello, how are you? You could change this to Boas, está tudo? This is kind of short for saying está tudo bem contigo? Is everything good with you? So this is just a really natural, common way for people to speak. Another way of replacing como estás, how are you, is one of my favorites, conta coisas. This literally means tell things or say things, and it's kind of like, tell me how everything is, tell me what you've been up to. So what about saying goodbye? How could we replace that boring old adeus, meaning goodbye? We could say, for example, até mais. Again, this is an abbreviation. It's kind of referring to saying até mais tarde, until later on. But by just saying these two words, you're giving the same message. Something else you might find yourself saying all of the time when people say thank you is de nada. So how can we replace this? You could say instead, não tem de quê. Não tem de quê. Now, tricky to pronounce, as I mentioned, free pronunciation guide in the description if you need it. But basically this is saying there's no reason to thank me. You have no need to thank me, okay? So it really does mean the same thing as de nada. What about replacing our simple boa noite when someone is going to bed? You could say instead, dorme bem. Dorme bem. This one means sleep well. It's a really cute one to say. Now, I bet you are using this one constantly. Desculpe, podia repetir? Or maybe you say, desculpe, não percebi. So this is when you're stuck in a conversation and you didn't understand what has been said and you need the person to repeat what they have said. Well, guess what? There is a tiny little word that we can use here that also isn't too informal. You could actually use this in a formal situation as well. You can say diga. Now, this comes from the verb dizer, meaning to say, so it's kind of like you're asking them to say it again, but it's such a small, simple, easy word, and it's so much more natural than saying these full long sentences. So give that one a try. What about if you are asking for help with something? You might say, preciso de ajuda. I need help. But a cute informal way of asking someone to lend you a hand would be, dá-me uma mãozinha. It literally means give me a little hand. And because your intonation is going up at the end there, that's showing that this is a question. Something else you probably say very often when you just don't know something, não sei. A little more sophisticated way of saying this would be to say, I have no idea. I use this one a lot. Não faço ideia. What about if you are hungry and want a different way of saying this? This one's really cute. Estou com a barriga a dar horas. So this means that your tummy is telling you it's time, but the equivalent in English is probably something along the lines of my tummy is rumbling. Always makes me think of Winnie the Pooh. So what about if somebody is annoyed or in a bad mood? Here is a different way to describe it. Acordou com os pés fora da cama. Now, that literally means he or she woke up with their feet out of the bed, but we would probably say in English they woke up on the wrong side of the bed. So still a bed metaphor, still means that the person's in a bad mood. A great one for if you are going to wish somebody luck. We would usually say boa sorte, but you could also say vou fazer figas. Now, this is a completely different way of saying it, but what it means is I'm going to cross my fingers. I hope these upgrades to your most basic phrases in Portuguese were helpful, and if you want even more insight into the way real Portuguese people speak on the streets, you should definitely find out more about Join Me inside my Portuguese Pro program for beginners. We break down a ton of real life situations and we really focus on these types of phrases that are going to make you sound really natural when you're speaking Portuguese and make it easier to understand everyone around you as well. The link to the taste lesson is in the description, and that's where you'll find all the information you need, so I hope to see you there. I'll be back next week with more tips and tutorials to improve your confidence and conversation skills in Portuguese, so I hope to see you then. Ciao for now.